you're going to learn basically what can go wrong if you use the relative reference instead of the absolute reference. As they say, you don't learn by doing everything right, right? All right. So feel free to talk like you would normally during this session. Let's go to cell B7, please. B7. All right. So what we're basically going to do, everybody, we're going to set up a formula that's going to multiply the principal amount by 6.5%. So when you build a formula, what is the first thing we have to type in the cell so Excel knows what we're doing? Correctamundo, you got it. So it is equals, right? And then you can either click the cell A7 or you can type it cell reference. Is it case sensitive when you type it, or is it? No, not at all. Now, because we want to multiply, be sure to use the multiplication symbol, the asterisk. And just to encourage you, I always use the keypad on the right. So I just hit the symbol. I don't have to do, this famous shift and 8 or whatever that is. Yeah, shift and 8. I had to look again just to double check myself. So now I'm going to reference cell B4. So there's my syntax. Okay, you can see it either in the cell directly or the formula bar. Now, normally you would press the enter key, right? But the problem is the cell selector will move down to cell B8. So what do I do then? Well, I'm glad you asked. Hold down the control key, then press enter. You're out of the edit mode. Your cell selector stays fixed on B7. Normally when you hit enter, it would go to B8, right? So control enter would be, I think, pretty useful. Now I'm looking at this. It looks okay, right? But what about if we try to copy it? Now, if you were in the last class, there were two ways we did this. Remember we said we can click, hold, and drag from the lower right corner, the black square? Oh my, that's a big mess. Now I'm going to go up here and undo. What was the other way we learned? Anybody remember? Copy. Right, you can copy it, but what could I do to that black square besides dragging it down? Isn't it a drag when you have to drag down 100 cells? Sure is. 5 o'clock at night, I'm done. You can double click it. Ooh, ah. I like the double click. There are times when that double click will not work, okay? If one column is empty, left or right, So basically, we build a formula to multiply the principal amounts by the 6.5%. And we've used the default relative reference, which will change. Now, just looking at B8, and again, if you want, guys, ladies and gentlemen, you can double click the cell directly. Now, I don't know about you, but I could see this right away. Equals A8 multiplied by B5. Well, B5 is blank. So what are we really multiplying by? Nothing. So I'm going to hit escape. It gets interesting, though, when you go to like B9. Hashtag value, exclamation point. Well, if you look at B6, doesn't it have a value? That's what it's trying to tell you. You can't use labels as a part of your calculated-driven work. It just doesn't work. If necessary, you can hit escape. And then here's what we're going to do. We're going to take all the cells that are in here, and I'll show you a really neat way to select these cells without using the mouse. Did you know that if you use the shift and arrow keys, you can select a little bit better? Did you also know, for those like me who have that need for speed, you could do Alt, Shift, and down arrow. That's just another way to do it. I'm going to try to do it. This is hard to do, but I'll just highlight it this way. Doesn't matter how you highlight cells, but there are times when you're going to want to know the faster ways to do it, especially when you got over 100 cells to highlight, and you already, scrolled past row 45 like 5 times back to back at 95 miles per hour. You ever do that? Just go flying past your cells? Yeah. I do it too. As much as I use Excel, I still do it. So anyway, these are not right, so we're just going to delete them. They're definitely wrong. Now, the only one that was really right was the first one. But here's what we're going to do. Once you go back, what is that, B7, please click up here in the formula bar. And as soon as you click in that formula bar, it knows to put the cursor after the cell reference, B4. B4 is your absolute reference. It's a cell reference that needs to remain, what? Constant, right? Shouldn't change. Now, on your keyboard, we can use the function 4 key, F4. Or you can type in the dollar signs, although I don't recommend it. So you should have $2. Is that correct? Function 4. Did it work? Did it function?
Can I ask why you don't recommend it?
So once you make your B4 your absolute reference, simply press enter. And then go back to that cell, B7, and I would use the little black square, the autofill. You can either double click it or drag it down. Doesn't that look better than some of the syntax errors that we saw 10 minutes ago? So it's not bad. It's not bad at all. Now, what about over here in column C? If I wanted to get a total, now you already know what your principal is. Here's your interest rate. What would I need to do to make this work? Any volunteers? What would I have to do on C7?
Equals.
Right, equals.
And the A7
Good.
minus, or I'm sorry, plus.
Right. I was going to agree with you on that. You could take my interest off.
Plus B7.
Hey, I like you. Yes. So there it is. So it's equals, thank you for that. Good job. Equals A7 plus B7. And I'm going to hit Control Enter. Why am I not hitting Enter? Because I want to hurry up and copy it, don't I? Yeah, Enter will just move it down. It's not a big deal. I mean, you're only one cell down. It's not like you went 40 cells down or an elevator flight down, right? 40 stories. That would not be good. So I'm going to double click. So now we have these new totals. And that's what happens. Reality is when you take out a loan, there's going to be interest rates. Unless you got really like excellent credit, 0%. I would love to have that. I liked her idea though, minus. Yeah, take it off. I'm sure the banks don't want to hear that. But any questions on what we just went over? And do you see the importance of relative versus absolute references? Any comments, any questions, any insults? Did you learn something very helpful? Cool. Do you realize that absolute referencing is just as easy as relative? Except that we're so spoiled because relative, and I'm spoiled too in Excel, but relative is just human nature to Excel. It just happens by default. You don't even have to give it a second thought and it just does it. Absolute, you got to kind of push the issue a little with the function 4 key or the dollar signs. Okay? So that'll be helpful for you to know. And you might not use absolute as often, but you will use relative 90% of the time. Now, what we're going to do is switch gears here. See at the bottom left where all the other worksheets are? Just to reiterate what we just learned, I'll do the first one with you, okay? And this is not a quiz. It's not a Microsoft certification exam. It's just to help you practice and reinforce what you did. So let's do the first one together. Now, I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Just a little. So I'm on C7. So I'm going to put in my equal sign. And again, I'm going to go to the principal amount, right? And then we're going to multiply. And see the interest rates in row 4? You see how they're parallel to each column? So you know what you're going to do for the last 3. You're going to use 8, 9, and 10%. So I'm going to click on 7.0. Now, who remembers what we did to make that absolute constant? That's right. So you could do it right now. Here's my F4. There it is. And then it's Control Enter, or just hit Enter, whatever makes you more comfortable. And then just copy that down to the adjacent cells. Okay? All right. So if you didn't get yours to work, I'm going to do another one. Or I can do this one again. Actually, I'll just do this one again because I'd like to be able to let you work on the other ones by yourself. You can work together with your partner. So again, I'm on C7. It's equals B7 multiplied by C4. And then it's what? Function 4, right? And then it's Control Enter or Enter. And then it's copy it down, double click, or drag down. And don't forget, save your work as often as you can. There's a floppy disk at the top left. So I'm going to be quiet for a little bit. If you have any questions, no question is a stupid question. We're all here to learn. You can even ask your partner because it helps them help you. It reinforces it. But remember, that's what I'm here for too. So basically, you're just repeating the same steps, although the only thing that's different is the interest rate. Now, who wants to get extra credit? I came here to grade your papers, right? Your spreadsheets. How dare I say that? You don't have to do this, but I thought it might be kind of fun if we could. You don't have to do it. Okay, so I got these labels in here. I'm just going to format them as bold so they kind of stand out. Okay, so I'm going to save my file. First and foremost, how did everybody do so far? If you're still working on it, that's okay. Thumbs up if you're done. Okay, a lot of thumbs went up. Some did it, and that's okay. Work at your own pace. We're going to get the total here. Even if you don't have your spreadsheet set up to do it yet, we can always use mine as the example. Anybody want to volunteer?
I have a question.
Yeah, go for it.
Are we totaling the principal plus individual? I mean, why would you total?
Well, what we'll do, that's a good point, because the way this is set up, we could just do like the one interest with the one principal like we did before, because you're right, because we got multiple series. And to make it more clear, again, really good point, we can say, let's say for like 7% to make it more clear. How about that? Oh, that column looks terrible, you said? I agree. I'm going to fix that too. Let's see, copy, steal, cheat, borrow. We never say steal, we just do what we do. Yeah, I would make it more obvious that this is for 7%. You know, and so I guess since we're talking about money, I'll make this stuff green. Why not, right? You don't have to do all this extra formatted stuff that you see me doing. All right, so I think what I'll do, that because I don't really like black on green like that. Okay, maybe I'm going a bit too far, but so what? It looks better. All right, so I'm on G7. Now, do I have a volunteer? Any brave student? What do I need to do, formula-wise, to figure out the total at 7% and a principal amount of $2,500? So we're setting up a formula, right, on G7, like you said, equals.
Add sum or sum.
Well, not sum. We're going to do B7. We got to get the numbers in there first. Just think like you're on a calculator. Punch your numbers in first. Now what am I doing? I like your method though. Minus. Okay. So we're going to take this cell, C7, right? Is that right? Okay, I'm going to hit Control Enter. So my new total would be $2,675. And I'll just double click that to go down. Now I'm getting this hashtag value, okay? Now I'm looking at, what is that, C19? Yeah, there's nothing there. There's no value. No value. So I'm just going to delete that. And that's as far as we need to go with this. So again, was this helpful? Just kind of seeing this again in action. And I think repetition is a good thing. You know, if you don't use it, you lose it, right? So again, we've learned the value of absolute cell references. They are cell references that do not change. They remain constant throughout the entire operation. Relative, as we saw, caused an issue through and through. So you can't always use one or the other. There's a time to use relative, and there's a different time to use absolute cell references.